Hey everyone, Video Game Lover here, and welcome to another episode or another edition of Games That I Finished, where I review all the games I've beat in the past month. So, July came and went, can't believe it, and I finished 10 games. Well, 11 if you want to count the Game Gear version of Streets of Rage 1. So, without further ado, let's begin. Let's start off with the big game that I finished this month. Finally finished Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. As the anticipated sequel of Breath of the Wild, and this game was very, very, very good. They fixed some of the things I didn't like about Breath of the Wild, such as the rain. It's nowhere near as annoying as it was in the first game. I still wish the story was a little bit better. It's still a little paper thin, but Ganondorf was great. I love the new characters. They're all really good. The gameplay is solid, as always. And of course, I love the creations, the Zone 9 devices, and things like that. They're really cool. So, I really enjoyed Tears of the Kingdom. The one thing I didn't like were some of the boss battles, like the one boss in the Spirit Temple that's like arms. Why the hell did they keep referencing that garbage-ass fighting game? Ganondorf is really hard. I mentioned this in the video response to Mega Man 29. Ganondorf is really, really hard in this game. And especially the fact that if you did not cook enough food, or you don't have pots, if you go right to that Ganondorf fight and you don't have enough hearts, you're fucked. There's no way you can escape, I don't think. So, really dumb decision, but I still really enjoyed Tears of the Kingdom. It was a very good game. Alrighty, now there are two games I finished via emulator. First was Maximum Force. Kind of funny that I saw this game in the Southeast Game Exchange, and that was just a day or two before I went to Southeast Game Exchange, and I beat the PS1 version. It's an okay light gun rail shooting game. It's made by the same people that did Area 51, but it's not as good as Area 51. And I also enjoyed the Combat Tribes on the Super Nintendo. A fun, short little beat 'em up on the Super Nintendo. It's made by the people who did Double Dragon. So let's get right to the handheld stuff. Streets of Rage on the Game Gear. I actually finished this yesterday. Not a bad version. It's just only 5 levels instead of 8. It's much easier than the Genesis version. But one thing that's really funny is the factory song that plays in this version is actually the factory theme of the second game, not the first game, which I thought was a little odd. But this was still an okay version. I finished Donkey Kong Land 3. Basically, it's Donkey Kong Country 3, but they rearrange a lot of the levels and made it its own game, and it's really good. Just like Donkey Kong Land 2, this is a really solid game for the Game Boy. I was about to say Game Boy Color, but the original Game Boy. It's very easy, though. It only gets tough because of enemy placements, cheap enemy placements, but other than that, this is a really easy game. And I finished Star Wars Battlefront Elite Squadron for the PSP. Like Renegade Squadron, this is a really solid third-person shooter for the PSP. Was really happy to add this game to the collection, so I really enjoy that game. Okie dokie, now on to these 4 games. I finished the Pac-Man World Trilogy. So first off, we have Pac-Man World 1. Now, what's funny is I had no idea that they actually remade this game last year. Had I found that out, I probably would have played the remake. This version's still okay. It's a decent 3D platforming game, but oh my god, the Anubis Rex fight. That has to be one of the most poorly designed bosses I've ever played in a video game. The fact that they thought that was a good idea for a boss fight is ridiculous. There's also another level that was excruciatingly hard. I think it was, what was it called? Something scary. It was like in World 4, very hard level. I died a lot in this game. It's not a bad game, but can be very frustrating at times. Next up, we have Pac-Man World 2, which I think this is the best of the trilogy. This is a really good game. They fix a lot of the issues that played the first game. The music in this game is really good. The first game also had a good soundtrack, but this is way better. The only thing I didn't like about this game is that one submarine level that went on and on and on and on. It kind of reminded me of Two-Face's level in the Genesis version of Adventures of Batman and Robin. But this is a really good platforming game. Really good game. I really enjoyed Pac-Man World 2. Unfortunately, we have Pac-Man World 3. This has to be one of the most dullest games I've ever beaten. So, this game became a victim of what I like to call mid-2000s identity crisis syndrome, where they decide to randomly turn the series edgy. You know, like Shadow the Hedgehog or Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 3. Pac-Man World 3 became a victim. They made Pac-Man talk, which I think that's fine. I think Pac-Man has a really good voice in this game, but they decided to add combat, and it wasn't good. The fact that they added combat in this game, it didn't play very well. The platforming is fine, but man, this is so dull. It's so boring, man. The fact that I got through this game is it's amazing, because this game was really freaking boring. Really boring. So I did not really enjoy that game all that much. Next up, we have Raiden 3. This is a really good shoot 'em up game for the PS2. A lot of fun. It's really short, and if you beat this game, you have unlimited continues. This is a really fun game, but I think I overpaid this a little bit, $30. But if you find this game cheap, I highly recommend it. It's a really fun game, so I really enjoyed Raiden 3. And now the last game that I finished, I almost forgot about this, was Grimace's birthday for the Game Boy Color. So I think some of you may have known about the whole Grimace shake meme. That McDonald's brought back Grimace, and it was his birthday, and they made a whole shake about him, and people made memes about it. But did you know that they actually made a Game Boy Color game? Yeah, I might actually do a live stream of it one of these days. It's a very short game you can play online. It's only like 12 minutes long. It's a really short and easy game. But it's still pretty cool that they decided to make a Game Boy Color game in 2023. And now I'm fitting because the Game Boy Color turns 25 this year or so. But anyway, guys, those are all the games that I finished for the month of July. So thank you guys for watching. I catch you guys in my next video. Video game love for day.